Good morning. I hope you're doing good today. We have been very busy this morning. I actually got caught out running some errands and paying a few bills for the church. And so a few minutes behind. We tried to do this at noon, but I'm running just a little bit behind today. So I apologize for that. Want to make sure that we give you plenty of time to hop on. Also sharing the feed. I know a lot of folks will be watching this later, and that is fine. That is okay as well. Hope you're having a good Monday. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we remember a man with great ideals and purpose. Yesterday, I really didn't think about, it being the holiday starting today, but, I dealt with racism even yesterday in my sermon because, and it's not just even against African Americans, but there are many different forms of racism, and no matter the form, we do not stand for that. And obviously we know that that is wrong. And we are appreciative that God has set us all free. And I think every human being ought to be able to live in that freedom. Today I want to talk about where is God in the middle of my depression. Depression is extremely common to struggle with at some point in life or even throughout your entire life. Many people have depression and they believe that it is something that many people that have never suffered from it think it's just something you can snap out of and be happy again. That's not the case. For those of us that have struggled with depression in our lives, these comments are hurtful. They can cause us to become more isolated in periods of time in our life. And so I want to say this today, that if you struggle with depression, I do believe you can rest in the peace that God has for you and make it through it all. I have personally struggled with depression from time to time, and I understand what it feels like when you believe that maybe you're all alone in a certain situation in your life. And so I want to deal with that today just a little bit. And I know this is not going to minister necessarily to everybody, but if I can reach that one person that's trying to overcome a deep darkness in their life, then that is my goal today. Famous author of a book series describes depression perfectly. He says, depression isn't just feeling a bit sad, it's feeling nothing. It is not wanting to be alive anymore. Depression causes you to lose enjoyment in the things of life that, used to bring you a bright, happy, and joyful feeling. Activities like painting, writing, or participating in a sport, they may not hold your interest anymore. However, depression is a deeper than just a sad feeling or emotion. We can all get sad at times. However, depression is much deeper than that. Depression is a deep darkness that can make you feel like you're drowning. Day after day, the darkness seems like it gets stronger, and you simply just don't want to live anymore. And it's not uncommon for those who struggle with depression to think of suicide, maybe even plan suicide, or act upon suicide. And so if you've struggled with depression in the past, or maybe you're struggling with it today, here in 2022, and you've got thoughts of even harming yourself, it's important for you to reach out to loved ones, a therapist, your primary care doctor, and your minister. And depression, it'll trick you into believing that nobody cares about you, but this is not true at all. There are family and friends that love you and want to make sure that you are all right. So the Lord has a great purpose for your life, and so it stretches past the pain and the distress and the agony of your present sufferings. Christ can use our pain and he can use our struggles to help somebody else. And so in the midst of our depression, we feel extremely isolated and sad, alone and helpless. And so during these times, we can feel as if God has left us or abandoned us. And so if you're feeling that way today, I want you to rest in the peace that you are not alone. You are not alone. God has not left you. He is still standing by your side. God says, I'll never leave you, neither will I forsake you. Throughout even my own struggles with depression, I've often felt as maybe I was alone, even, couldn't find God. And I had to go back to what I knew, that his word, he will not lie. And it's in these times we've just got to remember the Lord Jesus is the light that can help us through our darkness. Even through the darkest valleys, the Lord has promised to walk through us in Psalm 23. We may not feel like the Lord is with us, but he's still there. And as human beings, we tend to base facts on feelings. However, we shouldn't do that. Our feelings are not always 100% correct. It is important to remember that at these times that God is greater than a feeling or an emotion. All right? Despite what we may feel, we have to turn to what we know. The Bible tells us He's never going to leave us. The Lord wants us to come to Him in the midst of our depression and point our sorrows to Him. The Lord has never left us in our depression. It is us who have maybe sometimes turned away from Him. And He wants to cover you with the blanket of His love and His peace even today. God does not promise to heal you of your depression. However, He will be with you through it all. And so the depression that some people have could remain throughout their entire life, and you go through those bouts. Being depressed does not mean you're lost. I want to make sure and say that today. There was a prophet that got so depressed, he said, I only am a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord had to kind of yank him back to reality, pull him out of his depression. I know that there is a dark, bitter way of depression, and even though we may struggle with depression from time to time, it does not define who we are. And so in the same way, I want you to know today that you are greater than your depression. Many people believe that those who are struggling with depression are just always gloomy and sad and crying, and that's not the truth. Depression is dark, it's painful, it's isolating. We've said that today. The best thing to do with depression is to turn to the Lord. I want to close with this today. God has not left you in the grips of depression, and He will not start now. The Lord is walking beside you, and He delights to strengthen and to uphold you. So I want to encourage those that are struggling today. Pray to the Lord and let Him, or tell Him rather, everything that is depressing you. The passing of a loved one, the ending of a friendship, or a marriage that ends in divorce, are just a few reasons why you watching this video today may be experiencing depression. Jesus knew what it felt like to be depressed. He was sorrowful after His friend Lazarus died, as the Bible tells us the Lord wept. And since He knows what it feels like, He's able to comfort us and extend His love, His care, and compassion to our souls. And so in addition to turning to the Lord, I want to encourage you, reach out to your family, reach out to your friends. Therapists are not wrong. Doctors are not wrong. Please make sure you include your pastor. Inform all of these of your depression and ask for help. Ask for your friends and family to lift you up with prayer and encouragement. God may seem far removed in the middle of your depression. However, I want to encourage you today, He is right there beside you. He wants to fill you up with His strength, peace, and His love. So turn to Him today and tell Him how you're feeling. Pour your heart out to God. Ask Him, Lord, I need you to silence the racing thoughts that are going through my mind right now. And I need you to calm my heavy heart. Do not be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to pray. The Lord knows your heart, and He wants you to come to Him. Even though you may feel like God's left you in the middle of your depression, He has not. Jesus is standing beside you, and He's not going anywhere. God bless you today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're praying for you. If there's anything we can do for you, reach out to us and let us know. We're happy to be back in person this week. Prayer meeting Tuesday night at 7, midweek worship Wednesday night at 7 as well. God bless you. Have a great rest of your Monday, folks.